Hello everybody, and this time I'd see if I could do a audio commentary on my Island of Dwarfs series. So let's get started with episode 1, of course. Now, of course, this is actually the remade version of episode 1, mainly due to the fact that the first part of it was kind of, or at least I should say actually the second half of it was not as well done as I would have actually liked, especially considering the fact that the omnivorous nodosaur that makes an appearance in the series in general, it was originally the main predator in the first episode, even though it shouldn't have been. The focus should have been more on what we see in this particular one. Now, of course, like this scene here with the Dwarfapatosaurus mother and her and the younger and the slightly older female. Um, Essentially, what happened was that in the original one, she actually knocked her this one over. She knocked her over on accident, and the line I chose was perhaps a bit too caring because she accidentally knocked over her own baby when she was nuzzling it. Now, as for the Stegosaurus scene and the Augustinia scene, most of it didn't really change much except for the fact that this was actually in reverse, where we see these two first after the Augustinia here, because this scene hasn't really changed, but the order of the appearances of the Stegosaurs was changed. Like, instead of the two adult males being shown first, it was actually instead, like, in this one it's actually the mother and her baby first, and then it's the two males. And if you were to hear really carefully, you would actually hear a faint noise because I was filming this around. These episodes for the most part were filmed around dusk, so there were mosquitoes in the air, which is why in the next scene here, if you were to listen to it in the original episode, you'd hear a noise because there was a mosquito right in front of my face that I swatted away. So yeah, instead, like, this was actually the first scene in the originally made episode, first episode I should say. This one was actually the first scene, and then the mother Stegosaurus and her baby was the second one filmed. But for the most part, it's the same, except that the scenes are switched around. And this is also where I decided to add in more dinosaurs, like this mother Ankylosaurus and her baby, or as I would call it, a scuttling in my own view. I would call the baby Ankylosaurus a scuttling. This sequence with the mother Ankylosaurus and her baby was actually based off of the Walking with Dinosaurs companion book, where a mother Ankylosaurus actually has a pair of scuttlings following her before she confronts the female Tyrannosaurus Rex. And yes, this female iguanodon that I painted, I know it looks really bad, especially the eyes, like the soulless eyes for the most part. And the reason why it has like red paint on its snout is mainly because I used paint as blood when I was a kid. When I had this iguanodon toy as a kid, I actually had a Ceratosaurus toy, and I would have its mouth painted with blood, or like painted red with red paint to make it look like it's blood. And that red paint still stayed on the iguanodon toy snout. And this was where I was starting to get better when it came to filming because I'm still practicing for the most part. Or this was where I was practicing how to actually make documentaries or something like that. Where this is actually based off of like Gloppy 605's prehistoric series, Raptor Boy 101's Dino Island, and um, the other kind of dinosaur island made by Bioniclesaurus, and then Mesozoic Isle by Kikizilla. And here's my favorite scene, even though you did see a bit of the patio right there, but oh well, that was a bit of a mistake because I was actually recording this with my phone on a little platform made out of Legos that was mobile, and you would hear like a noise when it was like rolling across the ground. But yes, here it is. My favorite scene in the entire episode. the queen has arrived with Roberta, an old female dwarf Tyrannosaurus Rex, who's actually over 29 years old. And then here comes her two sons. Yep, 15-year-old Tyrannosaurus and 8-year-old Tyrannos. Now, when I say they've been stuck in the herd for about a week, I mean more like in the sense of they were basically stalking the herd, like picking off animals like this bongo off the herd. Now, this scene here is actually based off of Dinosaur Planet or Little Das's Hunt, except that in this case, Tyrannos doesn't screw up like Little Das did. And I appropriately used the music here is actually Buck and Blaze from the Little Das's Hunt episode, as well as the fact that I used Daspletosaurus roars for Tyrannosaurus and Roberta. Although this is the only episode where Soros has the subadult Daspletosaurus roars. Yeah, imagine being chased by that derpy-eyed thing. And of course, yeah, you see like every time I was moving the toys around the plants, there was like little bugs flying around, and that little noise that you faintly hear, that was actually Roberta impacting against the platform that I was recording on. And this is the only appearance of vampire blood, which is actually a kind of fake blood that I got at a Halloween store to see if I could use it for this series. And this is the only time I ever used it because vampire blood is quite finicky to put on toys, I will say. So I stopped using vampire blood and instead used ketchup packets. So no ketchup was no ketchup was spared during the making of this series. So yeah, Roberta, due to her old age as well as a an injury that's on her right side of her body, it's actually made her kind of weakened, as well as the fact that she gets tired really easily because she's older, and she was shaking because she was aggravating her injury. Oh, hold on. Well, I guess that's the audio commentary for the first episode. Now, see you guys later for the second episode. Bye.